New Hampshire is in trouble, and renters and property taxpayers could end up paying for it. The only major sources of revenue that outperformed last year are disappearing. The first was interest on leftover federal COVID monies. That money will vanish next year. The second was repealed by the governor and the GOP, the interest and dividends tax. The 4% interest and dividends tax is paid by fewer than 10% of New Hampshire federal filers. Most of the tax comes from filers making $200,000 or more just from investments. People living off their investments are already seeing far higher income growth than people working for a living. New Hampshire's working class pay 3 times as much of their income in taxes as the top 1% of income earners. But who did Sununu and the GOP majority give a tax cut to? The wealthy people paying the lowest percentage. Property owners and renters pay the lion's share of taxes in New Hampshire. People think that only homeowners pay property tax. Actually, renters pay property tax through their rent. As state revenues drop, property taxes will go up even more. And those unequal property taxes are what pay for schools. Well-equipped schools with full language, science, and arts in wealthy towns, and schools that are pairing curricula to the bare basics in low-income towns. Last November, Superior Court Judge David Ruoff ruled that the school funding formula is inequitable. But the Sununu administration challenged the decision, trying to protect wealthy homeowners from paying their share. With rising housing prices, the inflow of families with children into New Hampshire has nearly stopped. One realtor reports that of the 60 homes she sold in the last year, only 1 went to a family with children. And so the state continues to age. Employers find fewer workers as more wealthy retirees buy up homes. To attract workers and their families, states need good schools and reasonably priced housing. This administration's actions accomplish the opposite. But that's not all. These issues pale in comparison to the 1,200 lawsuits that have been filed for physical, sexual, and emotional abuse against the state from former residents of the Sununu Youth Services Center. 11 former employees have been arrested for their involvement. Based on testimony about a single child's suffering and management's disregard, the jury awarded the first victim a $38 million judgment. The state is appealing the judgment and hopes to settle most of the cases. But similar judgments could lead to the state owing billions of dollars. The legislature only budgeted $60 million for the coming year. The impact on future taxes is obviously unknown. The damage to 1,200 adults formerly under state care is unknowably painful. With revenues dropping and expenses increasing, the outlook for our beautiful, beloved state is not good. We need to choose the next administration carefully. Those elected will have to deal with the deficit engineered by those currently in charge. The future of the state will depend on who wins the governor, executive council, and legislative races. Few people realize that almost every contract and every appointment the governor makes has to be approved by at least 3 of the 5-person executive council. People who want to see a change need to make sure that at least 2 of the 3 competitive executive council districts flip. Those running for state office need to be able to answer. How will you stop the state from courting wealthy retirees instead of helping the rest of the population? This has been another episode of GSM News. Subscribe at grandestateMatters.org.